Janica was very blessed as a child. She had a mother who loved her very much, and a group of friends who depended on her very much. They made Janica the hope for second-year class, but it actually backfired on her, because the expectations were so great that she had to carry. It made Janica become very burdened. An explosion suddenly occurred in the building where Janica was, and the conqueror group finally arrived in front of her. She then greeted them using her usual smile. The difference was that her smile was now a little sadistic. Janica was now protected by a pink barrier with chains tied around her body. The dark spirit philosopher was now also seen behind her. They could only be fascinated when they saw the extraordinary power that Janica and Philosopher released. Ed also noticed the commotion. He was surprised that those on Janica's side had just started. This scenario should have ended at dawn, but fortunately, he did not arrive too late. And as he approached the fire spirit Tarkan, he then saw Clebius, who was now still being oppressed by him. Ed then asked where Lucy was. Lortel replied, she was rolling around here, hiding in a corner. Ed would be relieved if Lucy could solve this situation, but Lortel was not sure she had the energy left to do that. Ed then invited her to solve this together. Coincidentally, that was what Lortel had planned to do. She was also surprised at Tarkan's defense. Even after she attacked him using 2 ice spears, given all her magic power, he was still able to survive. Ed suggested beheading him. Her ice magic was not suitable for cutting neatly, so he volunteered to do it. Lortel was confused, since Ed was also a magic user like her. Wouldn't it be better if Clebius, who was a swordsman, did it? Ed then asked if he could. After seeing the state of Clebius, Lortel also realized that he couldn't. Ed said that he would be responsible for end this. He told Lortel to stop the movement of Tarkan once. He would risk his life to her, so he asked her to do it well. Lortel was then surprised to hear that. She was surprised that Ed was talking about accountability and risking his life so casually. Actually, if you think about it, this is an uncertain bet, but Ed said that this is not a bet. Life is not cheap. This is an investment. Lortel smiled at that, because that was her specialty. Instead of acting like a submissive princess, she preferred to act like a ruler with royal blood. Since Ed gave his life to her, she would also hang her life on him. Hearing that, Ed then immediately started, and when Clebius could no longer stand after being chased by Tarkan for so long, Ed then came forward. Tarkan, who saw that, immediately roared towards him. Both of them were almost exhausted. Even so, he understood why Clebius was afraid, because he could also feel how powerful Tarkan was when he got closer. And when Tarkan was about to release a burst of breath, Ed then cast his wind magic. But this was not enough. He had to get closer. But he was then surprised when he saw a giant chained foot suddenly appear above him. Ed realized that it was a Glaskin foot. Clebius was also surprised when he saw it. Ed then wondered if this meant that Taylor and his group were entering the last phase, meaning that things were going as expected. But the timing was not right. Anyone would definitely be distracted when seeing a scene like that, and Tarkan didn't stop his breathing at all. He wasn't bothered by it, but, even in the midst of this huge chaos, Lortel didn't make a mistake. Lortel's attack managed to crack Tarkan's skin. He looked shocked by it, and Ed finally managed to get closer to him. This was the spell he had cast hundreds or even thousands of times. Windblade, an extremely powerful and amazing windblade that finally managed to cut Tarkan's neck neatly. He then got a system notification after successfully defeating High Fire Spirit Tarkan, and his magic spirit proficiency also increased dramatically because of that. The spirit contract slot has been opened. He can now make a contract with the spirit, but Ed's attention was immediately distracted when he saw Taylor's action. Taylor was seen speeding towards Glaskin's chained legs, and when he got close, he then immediately sent a very strong slash, which created a very powerful explosion effect. Taylor then just fell and looked unconscious after launching his attack. Ed, who saw it, could only lament that Taylor was really the protagonist, with lightning striking and bright lights illuminating the sky above them, which signaled the end of this sudden catastrophe. The next day, when the sun had just risen to illuminate the world, Ed and his group were seen leaning under a tree while enjoying the morning sun. Seeing Ed's flat expression, Lortel then asked what was wrong with him. They had just survived the crisis between life and death, but his sentiments seemed to be too brief. She then stretched out her hand and invited him to get acquainted properly. "I am Lortel Ketchum." Ed did not refuse, but he was then surprised when he saw some gold coins in his hand. It was certainly Lortel's doing. She took advantage of the introduction between them to return the gold coins she had originally promised. Now he owes her. Lortel then said goodbye. Ed knew that Lortel wanted to try to maintain a relationship, but he didn't really want to have anything to do with her. But he was then surprised when Taylor suddenly approached him. Taylor said that he harbored hatred for him. He probably knew better. Seeing Taylor's new appearance now that his hair turned white, Ed realized that it was a manifestation of the Sword Saint ritual. Just like in the game, it was really impressive to him. Taylor continued, even so, he owed him a big thanks. While bowing, Taylor then sincerely thanked him. Clebius, who saw that, then told Taylor not to be so polite to people like Ed. One day, he wouldn't be surprised if he would stab them in the back. He almost died because of him. He seemed to still have a grudge with Ed for abandoning him when fighting Tarkhan. After hearing Clebius' words, they then immediately told him to shut up. Phinia also admitted that Ed had a big contribution this time. She then invited him to enter the student council. But Ed immediately denied it and refused his invitation. Instead, the main damage provider in the conquest of Tarkhan was Lucy, and Taylor also defeated Velasfer and Glaskin. He asked her to focus on that. Elvira then mocked him when she saw Ed so humble. Everyone knows the contribution of Lucy and Taylor. They are talking about other things. He told her not to be shy. Zix then told Elvira to respect Ed a little. Because he was her senior, Elvira was annoyed that Zix always took his side. Zix only asked her to show respect to Ed, so as not to affect the original storyline too much. He kept his distance from the main characters, but, when he saw them now, he couldn't help but feel warm. Even Ed couldn't help but smile at this moment, watching them in this world, playing their own roles, solving their own problems time after time. Taylor, who became strong in every trial, Isla, who became strong for Taylor, Phinia, who accepted her destiny as a princess, and slowly matured, Zix, who found his own way in the cracks of society, Clebius, who grew his confidence, and Elvira, who realized that pleasure and satisfaction are not everything in life. Lortel, who spent her life buried under a pile of gold coins, questioning her own life. All the main characters, with their respective roles, and in the end, the trophy of success. Realizing this fact, Ed then went to the place that he couldn't visit during the scenario. He then walked towards the cupboard beside the duel arena, looking at the cupboard lying in front of him. No matter how he thought, there were some things that felt lacking. That's why he was here, to shine light the success of the protagonists. Someone had to stay behind the curtain. Janica just chuckled when Ed found her.
So, friends, this chapter comes to an end. What will happen next? We'll uncover it in the next chapter. Don't forget to rate this chapter out of 10 in the comments. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.